As previously noted, Luc Jobin has been nominated for re-election as a Class 1 director. I thank each of the directors for their hard work and for the many hours of support that they have provided to our company and to its shareholders over the past year. Thank you. I now declare the polls open for each matter to be voted on at this meeting. We will close the polls and collect the ballots after all items on the agenda have been presented. If any shareholder or proxy wishes to vote in person, please raise your hand, and a representative of the Inspector of Election or an usher will bring you a ballot. Shareholders who have already sent in proxies and who do not wish to change their votes do not need to vote by ballot today. If you are voting by proxy for someone else and did not turn in your proxy at the registration desk, please hand it to one of the ushers at this time. Our first item of business, the election of 4 Class 2 directors and 1 Class 1 director, is presented to this meeting for a vote. I would like to remind everyone that your board of directors urges you to vote for its slate of Class 2 and Class 1 directors. If you are voting by ballot, please mark it now with respect to item 1. Please remember that if you have already voted by proxy, you do not need to hand in a ballot unless you wish to change your vote. The second item of business is the approval of the Reynolds American, Inc. 2009 Omnibus Incentive Compensation Plan. As described in the proxy statement, under the Omnibus Plan, the company would be authorized to grant equity and cash awards to certain employees.
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Chairlady,
Mr. Secretary.
have we moved on to another element? You've introduced the election of directors. Are there going to be questions with respect to the election of directors?
No, there will not be, sir. We will talk about the classified board as a shareholder proposal. If you can please be seated.
I think under the rules of the SEC, on the election of directors, there has to be an opportunity for people to raise questions pertaining.
Excuse me, sir, you're out of order. If you could please take a seat.
I don't believe I am out of order.
Yes, you are out of order, sir. The agenda is proceeding as we've discussed, and we do not have a Q&A session for the election director portion.
You mean to tell me that there's no opportunity for shareholders to raise questions before they cast the ballot for election of directors as to where those directors may stand as a body, the new nominees, where they stand?
That is correct.
Well, then I have to challenge that.
Excuse me, sir.
I've been to many shareholder meetings, and every shareholder meeting, and under the rules of the Securities and Exchange Commission, stockholders have the right at this time of the agenda to raise.
Excuse me, sir.
questions about the
If
election
you will
of
not take a seat, we will need to ask you to leave the meeting. So please take a seat.
directors. Okay.
Please take a
When do I
seat,
get to
please.
ask a question about the election of
You can
directors?
ask a question during the general question and answer session.
After they've been voted on?
Yes, sir.
Then what's the reason would I raise a question if they've already been voted on?
Sir, the agenda has been set. Please take a seat, or we'll have to ask you to leave.
I have to question that, and I have a question about the election of directors. Now, I've asked the chair
Want me
lady
to
to
get him
give
to
me
go?
the opportunity to take 2 minutes to raise my
Excuse me,
question.
I'm going to ask you one more time to please take a seat.
On the
Otherwise, I'm going to
company's
ask
website, there is an open letter to those interested in farm labor.
Russell, I think he would like to leave the meeting. If you
It
could
was
help me with this,
signed
please.
the leadership
Thank you.
team of Reynolds American and R.J. Reynolds Tobacco. I find the letter very disturbing. Gentlemen, I have rights as a shareholder. First, I want to know if the nominees and the board are considered part of the leadership teams, which I expect they are. If that's not the case, I'm a shareholder and I have a right. If that's not the case, I'm sorry, folks. I'm going to ask this question.
We will adhere.
Excuse me, sir.
I have the ability to raise a point of order, don't I? Because how is this meeting being conducted? Under what rules?
You can make your point of order. Go ahead.
I too would like to raise questions about the Reynolds directors that are being up for nomination and election today. And I think it's very important for shareholders to have the opportunity to ask these questions of this company. And I'm especially concerned about
Excuse me, I'll have to ask you to please take a seat.
farm labor issues
Excuse me, if you could leave your question to the end of the meeting, otherwise we're gonna have to ask you to leave as well.
How is it
Would you please take a seat, or we're gonna have to ask you to leave?
this can be done in this manner? Why are you doing it this way?
We have set forth the rules of order and the agenda for this meeting. This is a business meeting, and it will be conducted according with those rules. You're welcome to ask a question at the end of the session and raise your issue.
But again, as a point of order, and that's it. I just want to ask a point of order.
I'm gonna warn you one more time, sir, please take a seat, or I'll have to ask Russell to ask you to leave.
How is it that you,
All right, Russell, I think he'd like to leave the meeting as well.
thank you very much.
As described in the proxy statement, under the omnibus plan, the company would be authorized to grant equity and cash awards to certain employees. Currently, approximately 5,000 employees would be eligible to participate in this omnibus plan. The plan is designed to promote the financial interests of the company by attracting, motivating, and retaining highly competent personnel, and by further